Right. On behalf of the Friends of Farsley Rehoboth, we thank everybody who's come this afternoon, including people who've come out of work. We also thank the choir at Valley View Community Primary School, who yet again have turned out to support us. We're trying something a bit different for this event. Those of you who've been to the event will know that. And very much we're hoping... I can't stand any closer to the mic, Sheila, because it's going to echo. Right, but I could be louder, or we could ask people to move a bit closer up to the right, actually. Might work. Right. Thank you for that. We have a running order for today. In a moment, I'm going to hand over to my new friend, Nima Poovaya-Smith, OBE, Deputy Lieutenant of West Yorkshire, the King's representative here. Really pleased that she's here. And also Mahindra, who's, I believe, is the driver and companion. Friend. Nima was very keen to say a few words. She was also, which we agree with, very, very keen for us to finish with the national anthem. I'm sure she'll explain why in a minute. I'm then going to say a few words about the connection between David Attenborough, who's his birthday today, and Farsley Rehoboth. After that, we have a star-studded quick raffle. Has everybody got a raffle ticket? If anybody hasn't, we better see Francis like now. After that, Valley View Community School will perform Our Earth. We will then have planting and dedication of the Sycamore sapling. As most of you probably know, unfortunately the Sycamore gap one hasn't been delivered. I suspect it's going to come in 4 weeks. That's not a problem because we have a Sycamore sapling, and that will be the David Attenborough Sycamore sapling, no other title, but we'll then be planting with it the Sycamore gap one when it comes. Nothing to do with us, we don't ever do anything later or have this delivery here. We'll then, Valley View will then sing Happy Birthday, with hopefully everybody joining in to David Attenborough. We're then going to have a short second ceremony, which is the cutting of a ribbon and a huge plaque inside our stone shelter. That is really important because that plaque has taken 4 years to research and complete, and it lists the 383 people who are actually buried in the old chapel grounds, not in this graveyard, and whose names are lost and where there's nothing to mark where they are. So we think that's very important. That will be done by Richard Ainsworth, our chairperson. Then we're presenting, I think that's going to be Nima again. All these are very short, probably longer than me describing them. Nima is then going to present the King's Award for Voluntary Service Crystal and Frame Certificate to Valley View Community Primary School. For 7 years, we had support from the school, many hundreds of children as well. And each of the children who are here today, I believe, get presented with a King's Award for Voluntary Service badge, or might be done later. Okay. So that will be done by Nima. Then we'll sing the national anthem together. Then we'll close. If anybody wishes, who hasn't already been or wants to again go around the Rehoboth, we have plenty of people who will take you round afterwards, and we'll be delighted to show you. So with no further ado, I'm going to lower the mic a few inches, and I'm going to hand over to Nima Poovaya-Smith.
First of all, let me apologize for my discreet speech, but I have cancer of the tongue recently and had made a surgery, hence the list, which I hope you find endearing. I'm here as a representative of the Lord Lieutenant of West Yorkshire, Adiba Malik, who in her turn is a representative of the King for this county. Today is a sacred day. I don't say this lightly. We are here on this hallowed ground, surrounded by groves of ancient trees, architectural gems in the form of the tombstones and people who have reposed here in dignity and peace for a very long time. We are marking the centenary of an extraordinary individual who was beloved and revered not only in this country but all around the globe. And how thrilling is it that David Attenborough chose the Farsley Rehoboth as one of his, arboreal family tree, shall we say, and how exquisitely fitting that young voices will be raised to the sky in praise of this wonderful country, David Attenborough, and the magical heritage of both built and natural of what's surrounding us. And I'm also so pleased that the whole thing has been fueled by the indefatigable, could you follow that one? Okay. Indefatigable energy of the volunteers. As long as we have people like David Attenborough, and long may he live, as long as we have our beloved King, as long as we have our wonderful volunteers, and as long as we have these children of hope for the future, I think something is going right with the country, even though often it may look like it is not. And as for the national anthem, why not? Of course we should sing it proudly and loudly. Thank you.
Thank you, Nima. It doesn't really matter how old or how young you are, that David Attenborough appears to have been an ever-present. He's always been there and he's always been doing good things. I want to say a little bit about him. I mean, some of this I've copied and I've taken out the bits that I don't of hero worship that I think people would want to read in the biography. But he was born on the 8th of May 1926, 100 years ago today. He's a biologist, writer, natural historian and broadcaster who has inspired audiences around the world with his deep passion and knowledge of nature. Guinness World Records, not usually something we quote in our graveyard, recognises him as having the longest career of a natural historian and presenter in television history. More than 40 animal and plant species carry his name. A polar research ship bears it too. But none of that quite captures what it means to the people who grew up with his voice in their living rooms. He did not merely make television, he changed how a species understood its planet. He was born in Isleworth, Middlesex, but he grew up on the campus of the University of Leicester, where his dad was principal. As a child, he collected fossils, stones and natural specimens, even selling newts to the university's zoology department. It was an unconventional childhood that planted the seeds of a lifelong, now it says obsession, and I'm going to say passion. After earning a degree in natural sciences from Clare College, Cambridge, David had never seen a television programme in his life when he joined the BBC as a trainee in 1952. That inauspicious start led within a few years to Zoo Quest, one of the earliest natural history series on television, and the accidental birth of an icon. By the mid-1960s, he faced a crossroads. The BBC wanted him to run a new channel, BBC Two, and he accepted. Shelving his on-screen career for nearly a decade, he shaped British broadcasting from behind the scenes. He commissioned Match of the Day, brought colour television to the UK, and championed arts programming. Then, in the late 1970s, he returned to what he loved. Life on Earth, which aired in 1979, turned him into a global star. His team travelled to 40 countries to document 600 species in what remains one of the most ambitious natural history projects ever attempted. It was the beginning of an extraordinary run. I'm not going to name all the programmes that he did. There's one I am going to name, which 4 years ago was Wild Isles. That's relevant because at the end of the Wild Isles TV series, the Wild Isles Trust was established with David Attenborough there and heavily involved. The same year, Farsley Rehoboth got adopted as one of his good causes. Some of you were stuck up on the balcony in Sheila might remember being interviewed a few years ago for videos that we had to send through to David Attenborough describing what they were doing with our reclamation. And just for anybody who doesn't know, and I think there's a few grandparents here, this graveyard dates back, well, it's over the road to 1775. It was sold as house building land to a housing developer around 2007. In 2018, the second house builder went bankrupt, and we agreed to buy the graveyard for £30,000 out of his bankruptcy. We had to establish a charity. It took a year to establish a charity. We had to keep it quiet because we didn't want people to realise that this had never been closed as a graveyard, and it hadn't. It's open for burials. Could have been open for burials. After a year, we got accreditation. We went public. Continuously, that was April 2019, so 7 years ago. Continuously since then, we've worked 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Fridays, Sundays, Tuesday nights, April to September. We've raised £223,000. Nobody gets paid for doing this. This is a big hungry beast. The community support has been fantastic, but the support of people like David Attenborough has been equally fantastic. It's a name everybody likes and people associate with. You know, to be adopted by him really, really means something. You know, it doesn't happen to many people. So, to sum up, a century of life, 8 decades of broadcasting, and still on a Sunday evening, that voice, measured, unhurried, full of quiet astonishment, drawing us in to watch a kingfisher dive, or an otter hunt, or a garden come alive in the spring. There is no one like him, there may never be again. So cherish him while he's here and give him his message. Thank you very much.
Seas are rising, the ice has slowly melted.
now going to call up Nima and Peter Robinson to plant our sycamore sapling.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen, the David Attenborough Sycamore sapling. Planted mainly by Mr. Robinson.
It's now going to be the singing with everybody to join in, hopefully, of Happy Birthday with piano backing. We'll now be doing the ribbon cutting and saying a few words. You don't need to move your position. Hip, hip, hooray for David. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. And one hip, hip for Richard while he gets ready. Hip, hip.
Just a small thank you to the Deputy Lieutenant of West Yorkshire for coming on today, Nima Poovaya-Smith. Thank you very much. And to John and Francis Barker. Without
Thank you very much for and John and Francis donated all the raffle prizes.